Hello guys, welcome back to another bench testing video. What I have here today is a three-phase motor running off 480 volts, mounted and connected to a gearbox reducer, a 30-to-1 ratio gearbox reducer. This gearbox was recently rebuilt. The bearings and the seals were replaced on it. This motor is brand new. They're both mounted together already, and I'm ready to wire up this three-phase motor and bench test it and see if everything works. So I'll be wiring this. I wired it already actually, because I only had one hand to record and the other hand I couldn't just get the wiring correctly. I needed both of my hands, so I apologize for that. But I will explain to you guys what I did. So I will only be focusing on the high voltage diagram because I wired it high voltage. If I would have a 208 or 230 volt system, I would have wired it in low voltage. But since I have 480 volts, I wired it in the high voltage. Pretty straightforward with the wiring. T7 to T4, T8 to T5, T9 to T6. And what that means pretty much is you got to find those terminal numbers on the wire and you connect them together. On the diagram, it shows T7 is connected to T4. So what do? You find there's T4, and it's hard to see T7. We'll get her. We'll find T7 to show you guys. T7 is kind of hard to see. T7, you could just slightly see it, but I could see it better on my end. But anyways, T4, T7, T8 and T5. There's T8 and there's T5, and then lastly T9 and T6. There's T6 and T9. So you join the wires together, and once those are all joined, you find T1, T2, and T3. And now you hook L1 to T1, L2 to T2, and L3 to T3. So here's T2, T1, and T3, if you can see it. L1, L2, and L3 is what will be coming, are the wires coming from your power source, which is right here. Let's say the red wire is my L1, the white wire is my L2, and the black wire is my L3. The green wire is my ground wire, and that ground wire gets connected to this ground wire right here, which is mounted to the motor frame, and that's your safety wire. If there would be a short circuit inside your motor, the current would flow through this ground terminal screw here and would travel back to your power source or back to earth, to ground, so that if anyone would come and touch this motor, they don't get shocked or electrocuted. So I have my L1, L2, and L3. Remember, that's your power wires coming from your power source, wired to T1, T2, and T3. And my power cable is wired. It's going to be plugged into this 480 volt outlet over here, and can be controlled by turning on and off this breaker. I normally use this outlet for my milling machine, but I also use it for testing purposes, such as this one. So right now my breaker is off. Breaker is off. I'm gonna plug it in. And now I'm gonna turn on my breaker. So I'm pretty much just using this as a switch. And when I flip this on, my unit should start going. So here we go. You hear it turning on. Let's go take a peek. Now this is just solely bench testing purposes only. You don't wire anything like this when it's ready to be installed. And there it is. The motor's turning. The gearbox is turning. And what the gearbox does is it reduces the speed of the motor. And with the speed being reduced, the torque on the gearbox increases. So without that gearbox, RPM is 1750. Without that gearbox reducer in place, it would just be spinning at 1725, 1750 RPM. And for certain applications, that is just way too fast. Now, the gearbox is spinning counterclockwise. If I would want it to spin clockwise, what I would have to do, and this is pretty common with all three-phase motor that has connection to direct power and not ran off a VFD or anything, you would just reverse your L1 and L2s. Let me shut this off and I can show you guys. Shut it off. Pull the plug. So if I would want to get this motor to turn the other direction, all I would do is pick any of these leads, let's say the red and the white. All I would do is swap the red with the white and the white with the red. And all I would do is swap these two wires around, and it should reverse the rotation of the motor if you would want it to spin the other direction. This motor has a thermostat built in, but I capped them off because this is only for bench testing purposes. Normally these the thermostat wires will be wired in series with the control circuit that would control the motor starter. So then if the motor would overheat, the thermostat inside here would open, and then it would cut continuity to your safety circuit, which would then de-energize the motor starter, and the motor starter would no longer be energized, so the motor won't be turning, and it protects itself that way. Since I only have one hand, I won't be showing you guys how to reverse them, but like I said, it's really simple. You just take the white wire, you move it over here, and the red wire, you move it over here. You reverse your L1 and L2. That's all you do. There you go, guys. That's another bench testing video here. I hope you guys like it. Subscribe and like the video if you find this informational. useful of any source, subscribing to my channel and liking it will keep me motivated to keep doing these kind of videos and putting out these contents for you guys. Thank you.